Cloudy sky today. Today, I'm going to look at some emails. We're going to classify some emails that we have received that I have, in a folder. I'm also going to go over some email I received, let us be aware of scams. And we're going to look at two articles. So let's get started. So let's start with the email. And by the way, I'm on my phone because a lot of times when we check email, it's on our phone. So I'm getting into the habit of seeing what techniques we can look at on our phones when we're looking at the email to see whether or not it is a scam. Now, this one actually came from a bank and it says, protect yourself from scam. Beware of these things. Of course, they tell you about investment scam. And I guess the biggest thing about this is, they offer you the money, you deposit it, and then you're supposed to give them back a portion. The only problem is that the check is bad and it's going to cause your account to be overdrawn or even negative, and then you don't have money to pay the bills you need to pay. And of course, they escape with your money because you deposited that check into your account. So, yeah. And of course, they're talking about some cryptocurrency. I don't really mess with that because I don't know too much about it. So, if somebody has some info on that, I don't think of cryptocurrency as good. So, hence why anybody come to me at that, I say no. But if you have some tips, I will share your tips for the other people. Ooh, here they're talking about the job scam. I know I went over this in the text messages, but a lot of times, there's fake job postings on the board. There's recruitment impersonators, and a lot of times they send it to you in text. They also can send it to you via email. Sometimes they post a job on a job board. I don't want to get in trouble calling out in a job board. And then what happens is that, or they contact you through the job board, so it seems legit because you're like, oh, it was on the job board. No, you still need to do your research. The email looked like it was from a business I knew. Now, this is the one I'm most familiar with. And one of the good things about modern email is that you can train it because it has machine learning. So that when you recognize one as a scam, or even if it's just some marketing thing that you don't really care for, you can make it go over into your spam folder. Capital One or any other bank. So this camera may pose as a business, government. It looks like it. So why don't we go take a look? Well, let's finish this email. Because that's the one we're going to actually focus on. Ones that look like they're from legitimate. Because those are the ones I mostly get. So we're going to come to this email. I do have another one. It's a scam from another. This is from the credit union. Criminals are using fake caller IDs or text to pose as financial institution, utility companies, or other trusted organizations and asking to send money, login information, or verification codes to gain access to your account. So you notice a lot of businesses, and financial institutions are trying to make sure they educate us users, because you know what, education is the key. They could have the most high-tech thing, but if the consumer who is logging in gives away their login information, this is how the scammers are getting in and taking your money. So it's good for us to also be educated. So I am going to go to my spam folder because that's what I did. I sent them all I sent everything to spam. And I like to just go by the headings first. And usually I select it and then send it over to spam. Yeah, I'm going to ignore that because no name. So I can tell that this is just because I signed up to try and get some discount. That's another reason I get lots of email. Sign up to get discount. This is just a clothing company. I guess they don't have any ability to know that I will not click on this link. This also is like a job board. This is Torrent. Okay, now here is a spam. I know why I know it's a spam. Let me see. So the first thing I did, you notice, was to read out what the email address is. And as you can see, even though they said in the subject line Xfinity service, the address shows spectrum at I can't read the rest.com. That is not from Comcast. So that's how we know that's a spam. That does belong here. Let's see if we see. And there's a second one from it. You think it says the same thing? Let's see. And that one has a subway signal on it. Right? No reply at somethingsubway.com. Why would they be sending out bills for Xfinity? Now the rest of this just seems like marketing stuff. So let's go over to the article that I want to discuss. And this is a good source if you ever want to know what email or what scams are about. FTC.gov have a lot of great information. Here, they're telling you how phishing works. And pretty much it seems to be from someone you know. It asks you to click a link or give your password, business, bank account, or other sensitive information. Looks real. Very easy to spoof logos. As you saw in my email, the subject line looked like it was real. But when we looked at the email address that it was coming from, we saw that it wasn't real. But they also said that, they can make up fake email addresses that look real, but they tend to be a little bit off. So, for example, instead of ftc.gov, it might say ftc.ru or ftcgov.ru. So, it has all the things. And that would be a fake site. Of course, urgency. They pressure you to act now. And of course, if you click on the link, you can install ransomware. You can install a keylogger that, collects your keystrokes and send it to somebody else. So when you're going into your bank, it collects your, password credentials. And that's why a lot of the banks and other financial institutions and even stores, a lot of companies overall, now use two-factor authentication. So not only do you have to put your password in, it also sends a one-time code to your phone. And then that way you can, log in. Of course, if somebody calls you for that code, don't give it to them. So as you can see, this breaks it down for you. What, is phishing, what to look for, what to check out. Now, I do have another article, and this one was real interesting. This was in South Florida. And it's called the Grandparent Scam. Now, this one is mostly by telephone. And I actually had a friend who had this happen to her. Also a co-worker, too. It's pretty prevalent. What happens is that they'll call you. And you don't have to be a grandparent, but it's mostly a grandparent scam. And they'll tell you that in her case, it was her brother that was in an accident. And she's worried, trying to say, well, is he all right? And they won't let you get off the phone. And then what eventually happens is that you have to send them either some gift cards or wire them some money to somewhere, and they go pick it up. And then by the time the police got to them, it's gone. So in this one, as that we have right here, I'm going to click to read more. So they receive a call from someone pretending to be their grandson, saying what? The grandson been in an accident, and that he was being arrested because he was texting and driving, and he told the grandparents to call an attorney to help bail him out of jail. So they called the number, that they were provided by the grandson, and this attorney told him they needed, 18,500 cash. and he needed the cash today. So there's the urgency right there, right? And that's part of the problem. So this is what happened in this case. So that way you get an idea. But it's good to be aware of all these scams, because the scam don't necessarily have to come by email. It could come by text. They could call you, and especially if you have any relatives that you care about, you might go, oh my gosh, I need to help. But then you need to figure out how to approach this. Now, what some people say, if it's a true emergency and it's a true lawyer, you want to go look that up independently. Like do a search on it. Another thing you could do is also call the person who's being affected. Don't ask to speak to the person through that, but hang up and call them from your contact list or from the number you know. And those are the only tips I can give you. I would say, just be vigilant. Keep the ftc.gov site handy. And also, a lot of financial institutions and other businesses are also giving out some wonderful tips. So keep yourself educated, and you got to be vigilant. And that's all tips I can share. Now, if you have some tips that, you want to share with others, please, share them below. I mean, I would love to know too, because you know what? There's always more tips I could learn. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So thank you, and see you next time.